Welcome back. Today's practice, we will feature both seated, standing, and chair exercises. So make sure that you have a sturdy chair that you can actually utilize as a prop. So I'm going to be utilizing two seated surfaces just so that you can see me from a variety of angles. But we're going to start seated with our hands lightly placed on our lap as we center ourselves in preparation for practice. So go ahead and scan the body from head to toe. Maybe take a nice deep cleansing breath and taking note of what you're feeling and how you're feeling today. And as you start with the face, go ahead and relax the areas surrounding the eyes and the brow, making sure there's no furrowing or frowning. And then start to soften the jaw and the cheeks, making sure there's no clenching or grinding, even leaving a little cushion of space between the back teeth. And now let's travel into the neck as you slowly lower the chin toward the chest. Taking note of a light stretch from the base of the skull all the way to the distal edges of the shoulders. And with the chin tucked in, let's slowly begin to rotate the head, just sweeping the chin from shoulder to shoulder. Good, and bring the head back to neutral, leveling the chin parallel to the floor. And from here, we're going to release the right ear to the right shoulder, easing into it, taking note of what you feel on the opposite side. Good, and head back to neutral, and let's switch. And taking your time as you ease into it. Good, and slowly bring the head back to neutral. Now let's start to correct the posture. So sitting tall and let those shoulders drop down and back. And we always want to make sure that our feet are also firmly rooted. And even noticing the pressure of the sit bones on the seat and rising away from the waist as the chest opens and lifts, ready to receive that deep breath. Even take a moment to test out your balance. Maybe just rock from side to side, and then maybe forward and back. Good, and coming back to center. Now let's start to release the hands. As you rotate your wrists, wiggle the fingers, give your hands a good squeeze, and even flex and extend the wrists. Good, and gently allow the hands to come to rest. Now from here, we'll settle in, quieting the mind as you direct your gaze a little deeper inward to your breathing. So as always, maybe take note of your normal natural rhythm. Notice if you can feel the breath moving in the chest or the abdomen. Notice if the breath is short and shallow or deep and even. And then when you're ready, with the mouth closed, drawing the air only in and out through the nose, start to lengthen and deepen the breath. And just taking your time, focusing on the effort and quality of each phase of each breath. And picking up on those little subtle cues, maybe how the breath feels as it passes through the nostrils, how it feels as it begins to consume the thoracic cavity, even stretching those muscles internally. And of course, my very favorite, taking note of how this breath makes you feel, that sense of calmness that you are in control of from start to finish. So let's continue that quiet focus for 5 more breaths as we prepare to begin. Good. Now, let's start to warm up the back. So placing the hands on the thighs, on an inhale, just start to unroll, lifting the chin, dropping the shoulders down and back, maybe even sending the sternum forward, getting a light stretch in the front body, from the chest all the way to the navel. And then on an exhale, slowly begin to curl in, rounding the back, kind of closing that angle between the chin, the chest, but also the chest and the hips. And now one breath, one movement. Inhale, start to unroll. Lift the chin, drop the shoulders back, and then exhale, curling in. And make sure that with this movement, again, your feet are firmly rooted on the floor. Maybe hip distance apart to create that good stability. And also make sure as you round the back that you don't notice any major shifting forward or rocking in the chair. Let's do 2 more. And as you make your way through that final round, let's go ahead and rise back to a nice neutral spine. And now we're going to release the hands on either side of the hips. And on an inhale, we're going to send that left arm up forward and then reach laterally. Good. Nice extension. And now if you have arms on your seat, you can certainly hold on to the armrest or just let the arm dangle at your side. And we want to lengthen as we reach laterally, making sure that the sit bones are still making contact. And we don't want to collapse. I want you to lengthen as you extend. So let's inhale, come back to center, and once again float the arm forward to release it down. Good. Let's prepare for the other side. Let's inhale, send that right arm up. And then exhale, start to lean. Nice reach. Noticing what you feel in this shoulder girdle. Good. Coming back to center and float the arm back into place. Now let's roll the shoulders toward the back. Lower the chin toward the chest, and we're going to roll the shoulders forward. Good. Setting the shoulders down and back, and now we're going to make our transition to standing. So just make sure that there are no obstructions on the floor, and if you do have your yoga mat, that would be a nice stable surface to prevent any skidding or slipping. So we're going to be utilizing our chair for some fun poses today. Poses that are traditionally done on the mat. So this is kind of a nice introduction to some familiar exercises that you may have seen in yoga. So the first one is a variation of downward facing dog. So we're actually going to be utilizing the seat bottom. So make sure that you have a nice flat surface, whether it's a folding chair or just a standard dining room chair. And remember that hip hinge. Let's go ahead and inhale, send the arms up, nice extended reach. Pushing your feet into the floor. And then on an exhale, we're going to hinge from the hips, folding forward, placing the hands palms flat. And we want to stack the shoulders over the wrists and start to lengthen through your spine here. So your sit bones are reaching back and the top of the head is reaching forward. And this is going to provide a nice stretch to help relieve any compression forces in the spine. Now, remember that cat and cow flow? Well, we can do the exact same stretch or warm up here. So when you're ready, on an exhale, just start to round the back. Holding it here and taking note of what you're feeling. Maybe it's the muscles that line the spine and the upper back, part of your rhomboids. Or depending on any tension that may be present, it might even move down the lower lumbar region. Now, we're going to do just the opposite. So start to lift the chin and let your back sway. And kind of tilting your tailbone up toward the ceiling, coming into cow. And once again, pausing here, taking note of what you feel in this position. And also, you may not notice, but we are sneaking in a little upper body strengthening here as well. So make sure that it's comfortable, evenly distributing the weight between both hands. So now let's link the two together. Exhale, rounding the back into that cat. Inhale, gently dip the abdomen into cow. And just take your time. Let's do 2 more. And as you make your way to that final cat arch, we're just going to slowly return to a neutral table position. Good. Now, from here, I want you to take 1 step back with both feet. And then we're going to let the head dip a little bit lower. If you are taking care of blood pressure, high or low, or eye pressure challenges, you may want to keep your head above the heart. But if you'd like to explore this variation of down dog, you can start to extend your hands a little farther forward and make sure that your knees are still soft. We don't want to lock them. And then you can let the head drop just a bit more so that ears are in line with the arms. So this is our variation of a modified down dog. And this provides a nice stretch from the shoulders through the arms and also into the upper back and hamstrings. Nice deep breaths, and again you can modify this by just adjusting how low the head is releasing or how much hinge you have in the hip and even the bend in your knees. Good. Slowly start to elevate the head. Walk your hands back, maybe 1 hand length. Just make sure that when you push into the chair doesn't rock. And let's take that step forward once again. Just 1 foot length, and that would be your foot. And now, flat back. We're going to place the right hand right in the center of your chair, and we're going to add a nice spinal twist. So on an inhale, let's send the left hand up toward the ceiling. Now, if it's not comfortable for the shoulder, you can also bend the elbow and cross that arm behind the back. But we're putting some strength in that base hand, so use it to help you revolve here. And we want to still keep both feet flat. Nice deep breaths. Shoulders away from the ears as well. And again, you can adjust the height of the arm. You could even direct your gaze down or up toward the thumb or the heel of the hand. So listen to what feels good for you. Good. Exhale. Slowly release. We're going to pause here once again and give me a nice cat arch, rounding the back, relieving any compression forces that we may have created. And again, at any point, if you feel as if you need to take a break, you can use this chair to have a seat and relax. Because our focus this week is on kindness. And that holds true even through our exercise programming. Being kind and recognizing when a break is needed. Let's go ahead, return to that flat back position, and we're going to switch sides. So now we want that left hand right in the center, making sure the chair is stable. And then on an inhale, let's send the right hand up. Again, if you're taking care of the shoulder, you can cross that arm behind the back. But whatever position you choose, you want to push into the chair to help you deepen that stretch. Good. And slowly release. Again, both hands equal distance. Give me a nice cat arch once again. Good. Soften the knees. We're going to place the hands to the thighs. So we're loading the weight now in both feet. Just start to round the back and slowly rise up to standing. Good. So we're going to take a moment just to allow the back to relax and bring some energy into the legs. So just start to bend the knees one at a time. So alternating from side to side, loosening up the hamstrings, even the hips. Good. Coming back to center, nice and tall, feet hip distance apart, and pushing your feet into the floor, releasing the arms, coming into a pose that we call mountain. So it's a nice strong foundation pose. So your palms are facing forward, shoulders are down and back, and on an inhale, we're going to reach both arms straight up, coming into mountaintop. Making sure the knees are still soft. We don't want to lock them out. And now right hand is going to reach for the left wrist. Let's exhale, guide the body to the right. And again, we don't want to collapse into that side. I want you to lengthen as you reach, getting a good stretch all along the side body. If it's not comfortable to have the arm fully elevated, you can even rest the forearm on the top of the head. Or even adjust the arm so it's slightly forward. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Release the bind. We're going to switch hands. And on an exhale, guide the body now to the left. And again, even pressure in both feet, rising away from the waist. Good. Inhale, return back to center. And on an exhale, we'll release the arms back down to our sides. Let's roll the shoulders toward the back. Lower the chin toward the chest and roll the shoulders forward. And let's set those shoulders down and back. Nice. Now we're going to take a slightly wider stance, so we're facing the side edge of the mat. You choose the step that's comfortable for you so that you can still see your monitor. Nice soft knees here, and we're going to revisit our sunflower. So a nice dynamic move to help bring blood flow into the upper and lower extremities. So soft knees. Let's inhale, rise up, float the arms overhead. Exhale, fold and scoop by bending your knees, but keeping your feet rooted. Even pressure in both of them. Inhale, rise, cross. Exhale, hinge from the hips as you fold and scoop. Taking your time. Let's do two more. And as you make your way through that final round, we're going to fold and hold with the hands on the thighs. So coming into a nice demi-flat back position. So we're going to direct those sit bones back. Top of the head is reaching up, so a little bit of a diagonal angle. And we're going to add another mini twist here. So let's first start by dipping the right shoulder toward the center, twisting to the left. Keeping the feet, again, firmly rooted, weight distributed evenly. Good. Come back to center and let's switch directions. Good. Coming back to center, let's scoop the tailbone under as you slowly rise up to standing. Beautiful. Now, from here, we're going to step the feet in one at a time, coming into hip distance once again. And we're going to add a balance pose. So if you'd like, you can use your chair. If you're near a wall, you can use that for support as well. Or if you're on thick piled carpeting, or if your mat is also stacked on carpeting, you may want to stand on a slightly firmer surface. So I'm actually going to step off of my mat onto tile. And all we're going to do is practice engaging the core and also working the hip flexors, which are those muscles that control the lift of our legs. So I want you to shift your weight into your right foot, but we don't want to lock out the knee. That's one of the other secrets when it comes to balancing, because the knee, when locked, is going to make you a little unsteady. So we want to be able to have control when you start to feel your balance wavering a bit. So easy peasy, navel's drawn in. We're going to elevate that left heel so that your toes are resting on the floor. And you may notice the quad engaging a little bit as it's getting ready, but I also want you to feel the navel drawing in and the back also working here. And once again, if you're near a chair or the wall, you can hold on, because from here we're just going to elevate the leg. And you choose how high is comfortable for you. And we want to still maintain that core engagement. So if you're feeling adventurous, you can also release the bind of your chair or the wall and maybe send your arms out like a tightrope walker. And notice, even my leg is wiggling a little bit, but because my knee is soft, that means all of those smaller muscles are at the ready to help catch me. Good, and slowly release. Good. Give those knees a little wiggle, helping to release any lactic acid that can build up. And now we're going to prepare the same on the opposite side. So first, set roots, making sure we don't lock out that base leg. And all we're going to do is elevate the heel. And if this is your balance point, awesome. Go ahead and celebrate and hang out here. But if you'd like, once again, you can hold on and just start to elevate the knee. And if you'd like, you can even release, even if it's just for one breath. But make sure that you are breathing deeply. Good, and release. Excellent. Let's give those knees a little wiggle once again. Fantastic. Now, because balancing and standing creates a lot of tension in the back, I want to make sure that we let it go before we close out our practice. So let's go back to our chair once again, and we're going to come into that forward fold and transition into our modified down dog. So we want good distance away from the chair, hinging from the hips. Let's inhale, send the arms up, and then exhale, swan dive, forward fold, release the hands. Pausing here, give me a nice flat back, top of the head reaches forward, sit bones reaching back. Even take a moment to give the toes a little wiggle. Good. Now, go ahead and step back just the length of your feet. And now we'll walk the hands forward the length of one hand for each, and then let the torso settle in. So it's deepening that fold. And once again, if you're taking care of blood pressure, high or low, you may want to keep the head above the heart. Give me 2 more deep breaths. Good, and slowly come to a flat back position. Walk the hands back to the original position. Make sure the chair is steady. And then step your feet forward once again. So we're in that flat back. Nice. One last thing, we're going to activate the calves. So go ahead and bend your left knee and just lift the left heel away from the floor. This gives you some good flexion in your toes as well. Go ahead and release, and we're going to do the same on the opposite side. Good, and release. Now we're going to just alternate. You take your time. stimulating blood flow into the extremities. Also helps with any edema. Give me one more on each side, and we're going to add one little fun component, only if it's available to you. Go ahead and release both heels. Make sure, again, that your chair is nice and sturdy, and if you'd like, try lifting both heels together. Good flexion in the toes and release. Lift the heels and lower. Lift and lower. Give me two more. Lift, lower, and lift. Good. And lower. Fantastic. Make sure that the distance between your feet and the chair is safe for you to release your hands to rise up. Excellent. Now we're going to make our way back to seated in preparation to close out our practice. So make sure that when you are seated, once again, that your feet are flat and firm. Sitting tall, navel's drawn in, and just invite the eyes to close for a moment, taking note of what you're feeling from head to toe. And we're going to add a little twist in here. So we're going to twist to the right, placing the left hand on the outside of the right thigh, nice and tall, shoulders away from the ears. Good. Come back to center. Let's switch sides. Taking your time. Good. Coming back to center. Now, utilizing the chair for some of those balancing poses and strengthening poses obviously brought some energy into the upper extremities. So we want to make sure that we release that as well. So let's cross that left arm in front of the body, and you can use the opposite hand to gently pull in at the upper arm or the elbow, or you can even hook it. Whatever is comfortable, just make sure that the shoulders stay down and back. Nice deep breaths. Good, and slowly release, and we're going to switch sides. Take your time, cross first, and then give it a hug, making sure the shoulders again are down and back. Sitting tall. Good, and release. Nice. Now, let's go ahead and scan the body from head to toe, taking note of any differences from when you started today to now, and softening the face with a smile, honoring yourselves for taking this time out to explore different ways to change the intensity and also to add new stretches to your practice. So give yourselves permission to release as we savor the fruits. Simply take rest. Good. Now very slowly, let's start to awaken the extremities. Wiggling the fingers and the toes and rotating the wrists and the ankles. And slowly extend the arms up. Maybe even give a little arch in the back, taking a deep breath here. And then relax the spine, placing the hands at the thighs And I'd like to take this time to thank you once again for all of your hard work. And this concludes today's physical practice. Stay tuned for your mindful moment. This week's mindful prompt is kindness. And being kind to ourselves is just as important as extending kindness to others. Through your yoga practice, kindness can include knowing when to take a break or welcoming a modification to a pose. Also, taking the opportunity to celebrate the milestone of another day of fitness is a gesture of kindness to enjoy. So please allow your gaze to soften or invite the eyes to close and take the next 2 minutes to sit quietly and reflect on what kindness means for you.